All praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Makar Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elected nation of Israel. Women's wicked power is being removed. It's being removed from the earth, man, and the strength of Eve's wicked power to be able to lie and destroy the Israelite man and to be made blameless no matter what she did wrong is slowly starting to be diminished, man, right? And one of the things that's making me say this is that there's been a particular court case that I've been following, man, with a ex-NFL player called Travis Rudolph, right? And what happened is his woman tried to say that he was so-called cheating on her, right? So she smashed his house up, hit him over the head with a tequila bottle, right? Tried to smash his car. Then when he stopped her from trying to smash his car, she lied and said that he picked her up and slammed her on the floor and called her brothers to come and kill him, right? So then their brothers showed up to his house to try and kill him, right? So he defended himself because they didn't know that he had guns. He defended himself and one of them ended up dead, right? And then after that, it wasn't enough that the woman caused for him to try and almost be killed, right? That wasn't enough. Then they tried to get him done for murder, right? They called the police on him after they showed up to his house trying to actually kill him, and they started beating him up and beating his brother up, right? And they pulled out guns on him, right? And then he ended up getting found not guilty of the murder. But the point is that the Israelite woman tried two of her main tactics, right? And it didn't work, right? She tried to get an Israelite man killed by using other Israelite men, which is a trick that Eve's been using for the longest time, right? Over in Birmingham, they've used it. Over in London, they've used it. Over in Manchester, they've used it. Over in America, they've definitely used it, right? That's one of their main tricks. And then when that normally doesn't work, then they try their next trick, right? Or one of their other tactics that they go to, interchangeable from the first tactic of using an Israelite man to kill another Israelite man. They try and use the police, and they try and use Big Daddy Esau to try and get an Israelite man destroyed, right? But that tactic didn't work either in this particular case. Now, what's going to happen in the future, though, is that all those tactics ain't going to work, but then also the woman's going to be held accountable for her actions, and it's going to be her own life that's going to be the forfeit for her wickedness, man. Because as it stands right now, that don't happen. But the power that these wicked Israelite women have is slowly being taken away from them, man. Isaiah chapter 32 and verse 9, rise up, ye women that are at ease, hear my voice, ye careless daughters, give ear unto my speech. And that's saying, listen up, all you women that are living a carefree life, thinking that nothing's going to happen to you ever, all right? And that all your days are going to be rainbows and sunshine, man, and that you're just going to be able to go through the cities that men built, right? And then start running your mouths. The amount of times I walk past or I see construction sites, right, that might be building a new restaurant or might be building new houses or apartments or something like that, right? And then as soon as the thing's built, who ends up in there? Women. But they're not ever the ones building it, though, right? They're never the ones building it. Neither would they have the skills to be able to build it in mass. There might be one or two women here and there that take part in construction, but the average man, if you just take the average man off the street and start teaching him things in construction, he'll be able to do it easily, right? He'd be able to easily do it, man, with enough training. He'd be able to do it. He'd have the knowledge and the brain to know how to do it without any training as well. He'd be able to build himself a little shelter without any training, man. And the proof on this is all them shows like Bear Grylls and all those survivalist shows where they take untrained men and unskilled women and they put them on islands and see who would survive. And the men always end up finding a way to survive, man. Whereas the women normally almost die. And then they have to end up staging the show for the women so that the women can be able to actually even survive on the show so that they can get some footage and have more episodes, man. Otherwise, the women would die on there. Verse 10. Many days and years shall ye be destroyed. Don't even say that, Salakia. Many days and years, but that's true though, there will be. Many days and years shall ye be troubled, ye careless women, for the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. And haven't women been getting told about themselves now for many days and years? Hasn't that been happening? From the time where really there's been many people that have been starting to talk about women, but all that information that they've been bringing out from the past decades ago and whatever, or past 2-3 decades, right? became mainstream when Yahweh then took people from the world and made them start speaking about the same things that Israelites have been speaking about, right? And now you're seeing many cases where women are getting judgment, and on some occasions it is going to where it's on to death that women are being judged. And sometimes it's not even women being judged by men, it's women judging other women, man. Like a case where an Israelite woman, shot another Israelite woman through the door, right? A case where dogs. I saw a video just a woman got attacked by 3 pit bulls, man, in the UK, and the guy that had the dogs, one of his dogs I think was called Loco. So you already know that guy was a demon anyway to be naming his dog that, right? You walking down the street with 3 pit bulls, you don't know how to control those dogs at all. You don't know, and that's what it is with those people, man. Most people, they have these big animals and stuff like that because they're scared to walk around by themselves. And then now those dogs became a snare to him because he's probably going to get some kind of judgment for his dogs attacking that woman. But that is what it is, man. Verse 11, tremble ye women are at ease, be ye troubled ye careless ones, strip you and make you bare, and gird sackcloth upon your loins. They shall lament for the teats, for the pleasant field, for the present fields, for the fruit of vine, because they're going to be longing for the times that they used to have. And thanks to social media, you're already seeing women doing that and complaining. They're complaining about when they used to be younger and when they used to be pretty. They're complaining that there isn't enough high value men and that there ain't enough real men and all of this and all of that. But these women ain't ready to see a real man. Because I'll tell you an example of what a real man is. According to the scriptures, King David was considered a real man, right? And most of these women would have been locked up in a tower and made to have no children, just like what Saul's daughter was, if they would have ever had a real man as a husband. They wouldn't be able to handle being around a real man. And there wouldn't have been nobody else on earth that could have stopped this real man that they so-called looking for from being able to do what he wanted to do. These women ain't ready for no real man as they claim that they are. They ain't ready for that. Because a real man wouldn't be allowing them to be running around being harlots like they are. He wouldn't allow that. What they really mean when they say this real man stuff in this society is a real simp. A guy that's as rich as can be, that just lets them do whatever they want. And that's considered in the woman's eyes as him being comfortable in himself. But really, the guy's a punk and an idiot, man. That allows anybody to just walk all over him and is prepared to pay the bill for such a privilege as that, which ain't no privilege. It's really a disrespect. Verse 12, they shall lament for the teats, for the present fields, for the fruit of a vine. They're going to be longing for all the things that they used to have. They're going to be realizing that how men used to be, that they used to claim men weren't this and men weren't that them men was actually being nice to them. Because there's going to come a time that women are not ready for, man. There's going to come a time that women are not ready for, where all hell is going to be breaking loose, and women are not warriors, man. Women are not built for warfare. Women are not built to have fights continually. They're not. No matter how much they talk, no matter how much they get on a podcast and think that they can fight men, no matter how much they are actually professional combat sports athletes, a lot of these professional female combat sports athletes couldn't beat up the average man that's just used to having fights in his pub. She couldn't beat him up, man, in a real fight. In a real fight with no rules. She couldn't take him. She could not. But women have been given these delusions that they are equal to men, if not superior, even in physicality in some places, which is ridiculous. Because even among men, there's weight classes and there's a hierarchy of who's stronger and who's not, even among men. And even among the army, right, which is the ultimate standard of what's fighting fit, right? They lower the female standard so that they can have females in the army. But even the worst men's standard, right, even the men that might not meet the male standard, they're still better than the top female standard. It's ridiculous. In a male standard, for example, the men might have to be able to do a certain amount of pull-ups, right? But in the women's standard, the woman will just have to be able to hang from a bar for a particular number of seconds, right? So they'll be given an army because they're doing these things. They'll be given an army, and the women will be like the strength of prepubescent boys or something like that, right? But if they would have put the lesser standard of men, then the army is going to be stronger overall. But all these women that want to be in armies, well, they're going to get the chance to prove their valor, right? Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 16. Moreover, Yahweh saith, because the daughters of Zion are haughty, and walk with stretched forth necks and wanton eyes, walking and mincing as they go, and making a tinkling with their feet. Now, I saw a video on the internet yesterday, or today, I can't remember, where an Israelite woman was walking down the street, right? And she had so much hair extensions in her hair, that the hair extensions was touching the floor and dragging. Her hair was at least, from the extensions and the weaves, at least like 5 meters, man. Dragging on the dirty floor in the shopping mall, right? She was doing that because the Israelite woman loves hair. But Yahweh cursed her to not have hair. Verse 17. Therefore the Lord will smite with a scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion, and Yahweh will discover their secret parts, and Yahweh will take away the bravery of their tinkling ornaments about their feet, and their cords and their round tires like the moon, the chains and the bracelets and the mufflers, the bonnets and the ornaments of the legs, and the headbands and the tablets and the earrings. And women like to wear bonnets right now, man. But the time's going to come where Yahweh's going to take even those bonnets that these Israelite women be wearing, really, because their hair underneath is destroyed, right? And because they haven't got to the hair salon yet, right? Or they're on their way to get their hair done, right? It's not because they're being righteous and they're trying to have a head covering, no. Because a head covering, that's not what it's talking about in the Bible when it says that a woman's supposed to have their head covered. It's not talking about that. It's not talking about a bonnet on their head, right? It's not speaking about that, man. They wear it because their hair is destroyed underneath, but Yahweh's going to take that away from them too. And all the other things that they use to make them feel beautiful, man. All the other things that they use to make themselves feel like they're better than men and can't be told nothing, right? All those things that they put on themselves that make men find them as beautiful, and they're going to just be exposed as looking like what they really actually look like, right? They're going to made to be shown what they really look like. They're going to be able to walk around with them high heels, clicking and clacking off the ground because they're going to be too busy running away from things, running away from danger. High heels ain't good for running away. That's why anytime something happens, when women are wearing high heels and they need to run, they take them off and start running, right? Verse 21, the rings and the nose jewels, the changeable suits of apparel, and the mantles and the wimples, and the crisping pins, the glasses and the fine linen, and the hoods and the veils. And it shall come to pass that instead of sweet smell, there shall be stink, and instead of a girdle, a rent, and instead of well-set hair, boldness. Now, has that not happened to the Israelite woman? Does the Israelite woman's hair grow long on average? If we're being honest, no, it don't. Why is that? Well, the Bible said why in verse 16, because they're haughty and walk with stretched forth necks, thinking they can't be told nothing, and wanton eyes, looking at every single man, always being hypergamous and trying to upgrade their husband for another one, right? For the most minor thing to the most major reason why, right? And then it's always the man's fault why they're not with him no more. It's always because he didn't do this and he didn't do that. And they've got 30 plus different relationships where it's always the men's reason why. It's always because of the man why they didn't work out, and none of the relationships breaking down is their fault. And they've got 30 times that they've committed the sin of adultery. 30 times. And they've got children also by a load of different men in some cases as proof of their adultery and their adulterous ways. Let me carry on. Verse 24, and it shall come to pass that instead of sweet smell, there shall be stink, because these women are going to be smelling real bad in the time to come, man. Right? Men are going to be smelling bad too, but women are going to be smelling bad. They're going to be stinking, man. And when you understand the Bible, you find that the cleansing period for women is greater than the cleansing period for men. It's actually quite easy for a man to clean himself more so than it is for a woman to clean herself. It's actually easy for a man to make himself look presentable as a man compared for a woman to make herself look presentable as a woman, right? A man can literally just trim his hair with some scissors if he wants to have some hair on his head, or he can par his hair but not with a razor and trim it down to where it goes low, and then that's it. And then he has his beard, right? And then that's it. Then he just puts on his clothes and goes out, right? He wakes up pretty much looking the same way as he's gonna look throughout the rest of the day. But with women, you can't say that. Women wake up with their hair, no matter what nation it is, going 75 different directions, and then they have to do loads of things, spending at least half an hour to 2 hours in front of a mirror to make themselves look like what they want the world to believe that they really look like. Whereas with men, they pretty much wake up and fall asleep like what they actually look like, man. And in that time, women are going to realize that they're not better than men when they start to see these things happening. They're going to realize that. Verse 25, in fact, let me carry on in this. And instead of a stomacher, and instead of a girdle of rent, and instead of well-set hair, boldness, and instead of a stomacher, a girdle of sackcloth, and burning instead of beauty, because they're not going to be looking beautiful in that time, man. Whereas right now, you'll still see women that are beautiful, right? But the time's going to come where these women are not going to be looking beautiful, and some of these women that have got BBLs and all of these things, that they can't even sit down with them, right? They're going to realize that a BBL, right, is not very functional for survival, right? That's not functional for survival, and that you just look stupid now. They're going to realize that stupid acrylic nails and big eyelashes to where you can't even open your eyes and see properly are not beneficial, right? That long nails that are like 1-inch long nails are not beneficial for functionality, right? That you can't even hold your cutlery properly in your hand. It's hard for you to hold a damn knife and fork in your hand with them stupid nails. You're going to realize that that was not a functional lifestyle that he was living. It was actually stupid. And you're going to try and think you can get humble, but it's going to be too late, man. Because the time of telling you and warning you is going to be over. Verse 25, thy men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty in the war. Now, the case that I told you about with this guy, Travis Rudolph, is an example of these women's men falling by the sword, because she sent her men, right? The men of her lifestyle and her way of living, right? Being able to set men up for murder. She thought that was going to work. And she's probably already did that before. And I forgot to mention something on this case, right, with this guy, Travis Rudolph, that this woman had all this anger for him so-called cheating on her, but she was married. And when she got asked by the guy's defense lawyer why she didn't tell him she was married, you know what she said? She said, he never asked me. She said, he never asked me if I was married. That's why I never told him. Why would she think that a man that's dealing with a woman has to ask that she's married when she obviously didn't have the wedding ring on? Because then he would have known she's married, right? But she tried to send, verse 25, thy men shall fall by the sword and thy mighty in the war. She tried to send her men to try and take him out, but her men ended up falling by the sword, right? But if he wasn't have been skilled with that sword, then he'd be dead right now, and it would have worked for her. So her men are going to be falling by the sword, man. These women's wicked men that normally was able to do things and cause damage are going to be dying, man. They ain't going to be able to even defend themselves. Never mind defending these women's wicked ways. They're going to be dying by the sword in the everyday society when all hell's breaking loose and there's sedition among men. But they're also going to be dying in World War III that they're going to be sent to fighting. Whereas the Israelites, we ain't going to be getting sent to that because we'll refuse, man, and have to deal with whatever consequences would take place for refusing that. Verse 26, and her gate shall lament and mourn, and she being desolate shall sit upon the ground, right? So she's going to be just distraught, man. She's going to know, man, there ain't no hope in hell. Verse 4, Isaiah 4 and verse 1, and in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we'll eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. But you know what? It's going to happen in some of the cases of this being said. Some of the men are going to be talking exactly the same way like how some of you women are talking now, right?
The same way how you women are talking about how men are dusty and how men ain't this and how men ain't that. That's the same way how men are going to be talking to you women in that time. They ain't going to want to deal with you. They ain't going to want to know you. They ain't going to want to give you a kiss or a hug. They ain't going to want to feed you, right? They're going to tell you to get out their face, man, because they're going to have way more options than you have, right? Right now, let's be real. Right now, women have way more options than men have. But in the time to come, that's not going to be the case because the women ain't going to be able to pick and choose and get on a dating show and say, oh, what's your career? What's your occupation? How many years you been doing it? Or when a guy asks her for a number, say for what? Or say, where you going to take me and all of that, right? And just be making demands from a guy that she don't really even know, right? The men are going to be making demands. Why should I allow you to be around me and receive salvation? And the woman's going to be having to make her case for why he should and should not. And in a lot of cases, they're not going to have a good enough reason why, and they're going to be told, kick rocks. And here's an example of the prophecy that speaks on it, man. Here it is. Micah chapter 7 and verse 10. Then she that is mine enemy shall see it, and shame shall cover her, which said unto me, where is Yahweh thy power? Because a lot of women don't really believe in the Lord, man. Right? A lot of women don't really believe that Yahweh exists. They don't believe that Yahweh Shai exists. They don't believe in the Bible. They say that they do, but really they don't, man. Really they don't believe in the Bible, because as soon as you tell them something about what it says about women, then they'll say, who wrote that? Men. And then it will be instantly exposed that they don't really believe in it, right? Where's Yahweh thy power? Mine eyes shall behold her. Now she shall be trodden down as the mire of the street. She's gonna be stepped on, man. She's gonna be just out there, left out to dry. She's gonna, as the saying goes in the world, she belongs to the streets, man. That's what it's gonna be. They're just gonna be left out there, and I can picture that in my mind quite clearly, man. When you see these women walking around, laughing, they're all wearing these miniskirts and all that, and they're just acting so carefree, as if there's no such thing as danger that exists in the world, right? Those women are not prepared for anything that takes place, man. They're not prepared for that. They don't know that women don't really understand certain things. Women don't even understand, right, how much stronger a man is than them. They don't actually get that. Men understand how much stronger a man can be than them. And that's why we act wisely when we're dealing with other men, right? But women do not understand the difference in strength between a man and them. And I've seen women that are like 5'4", 120-pound Israelite women, right? Running their mouth, pointing their finger, banging up their hands together in front of an Israelite man's face that's at least 6'5", 230, 250 pounds, right? That men, when they see this guy, give them respect and give them their respect as a man that's of that such stature. But women don't understand these things. They don't get it, right? Considering all of them light men that are tall and all of these things, they don't understand. It don't seem like they understand that a man's more dangerous than they are. And in understanding that they shouldn't be tormenting them, man. Even the scriptures tell us to strive not with a mighty man. The scriptures tell us that. Isaiah chapter 13 and verse 11, I will punish the world for their evil and the wicked for their iniquity, and I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and I will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. Now, the two most proud people in this earth, now, well, you know what, I'll say the top three, right? The top three most proud people on this earth right now is the Edomite man, the Edomite woman, and the Israelite woman, man. They're the most free, proud, man. And people can put that in whatever order they want to say. Maybe the Edomite woman is actually more proud than the Edomite man, because the Edomite man is prepared to put his hands on people way more, and he's prepared to get physical. Whereas the Edomite woman hasn't really had to do that, because she's just been relying on what the Edomite man does in a lot of cases, and been throwing in her little shots from the sideline every time she can get in a lick and destroy Israel and blame it on the Edomite man. She'll do it, right? Because she's guilty of all the crimes of Esau too, because she belongs to that nation. So this ain't no thing where we just love the Edomite woman so much and we can't wait to wife her up in the kingdom. That's not what video is about, man. Because the Edomite woman's going to get judged too. She's going to get judged too and served up, man. Verse 12, I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir, which is a very precious gold. Men are going to be more valuable than money in that time, right? Because money's not going to be worth nothing. Money's only worth something when people are prepared to pay and follow the rules, right? If every single person on this earth today said, F paying, I'm stealing, everyone, the security guards wouldn't be able to do anything, right? The money that you have would not be worth anything because everyone would say, I'm not buying this. They wouldn't be stopping the store clerk and saying, oh, how much is this? The tag's not on these jeans. They'd say, I'm robbing them. They're my size. I'm taking them out of the store right now. I'm robbing them. And the next person behind would be doing the same thing. They'd just have to shut everything down, man. And that's the kind of world that we're getting ready to see. People are going to just be looting, man. Everywhere, though. It's not going to be like, oh, some people, and then people are going to be able to point their finger at a particular race. No, everyone's going to be doing it. Let me get the prophecy. Let me get the prophecy on that. 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and verse 16, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A time on the earth is coming where people are not going to care about the rules anymore, right? There's not the rules of, oh, if somebody says something wrong to you, you just have to swallow that and not have to you're going to have to just handle it with disrespect. People are going to say, forget that rule, right? They're going to forget the rules of the highway code, right? They're going to say, nah. They're going to forget these worldly rules of, oh, there's never a reason that you should hit a woman. They're going to forget that. They're going to say, to hell with that shit. I'm breaking all the rules. As long as I've got the ability to break the rules and I'm stronger than whoever I'm trying to victimize, I'm breaking the rules. That's what these people are going to be saying. They're going to be going into the store, doing a 5-finger discount, right? They're going to be stealing. They're going to be eating food right in the store, being disrespectful as hell. That's going to make anyone that works in this store just be like, man, I quit. And then they're even going to start stealing too. When the lockdown was happening, right? And there was all this stuff for like nappies and all of that, right? You had people seeing big trucks that might have like Asda written on there, Aldi or whatever, and they'd be following the truck, man, in their car. They'd be following it. They don't even know what the stock is inside there, but they was following the truck. Now, that was more civilized than what's coming, because in the future they're going to be following the truck and pulling the truck driver over and trying to rob him. And the truck driver, delivery driver is going to be like, man, why am I driving this truck to bring all this food to people when I can make all this money out of this food truck? I'm going to, in fact, try to start my own business with this food truck. I'm going to take this food truck out somewhere. I'm going to get my family. I'm going to put all of us inside this food truck, and I'm just going to defend this food truck and rule this. This is enough food for at least 3-4 months for me and my family. They're going to take that. They ain't going to be trying to follow the rules anymore. And that's going to lead to martial law being brought in, which then is going to lead to people having to be made to prove that they've become civilized again. Prove that you're not going to act like how you was before, how all you people was acting before. You're going to have to prove it. And in order to prove it, you know what we're going to do? You're going to require to take something. And that's where Revelation 13 and 16 is going to come in. And I'm not saying that that's exactly the way that it's going to go down, but these are the kind of things that they're going to be using. They want chaos right now. They want it to go chaotic so that they can bring in the solution. Right? And that's why they're inflating the money. That's why they're doing all these things. That's why they're giving women such freedom. But then at the same time now, like I said at the start of this video, the power that these wicked Israelite women have is slowly being taken away from them, man. Slowly, but surely, it's going to be taken from them. It's going to be taken from them, man. I'm going to end the lesson there. Right? You wicked Israelite women are not going to be having power for too much longer, man. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakar Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect to the nation of Israel. Shalom.